Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Whitfield Report Thursday edition. This is a pre-recorded show I'm doing here, and I'm going to make this one real quick tonight for the Thursday show. Not really much else I wanted to cover other than the title of this video. So let's just get down to it. Shall we? First off, contact info as usual. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram, at least for right now, at SamW_NDC, hashtag Whitfield Report. You can follow me on Gab and Minds at Sam Whitfield, Facebook.com/Whitfield Report, thesamwhitfield.com. And as always, subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts or wherever else you get your podcast from. Patreon.com/Whitfield Report if you would like to contribute monthly to the podcast. And all of the other links to support me will be down below in the description on YouTube and also on Odyssey as well. If you're watching over there, welcome. All right, folks, so I know this is a bit late today. I know I'm posting this podcast late, and but I haven't had a chance to get to all this until today. So the news of the day is Gina Carano, one of the stars of The Mandalorian, is no longer a star on The Mandalorian because she has been fired over quote-unquote controversial tweets. Now, I had a sneaking suspicion that this might happen. I even said a while ago, I think it was either on the Whitfield Report or on Versa Media, maybe we were talking about the first time that the SJW mob came after, Gina Carano. Disney actually kind of held their ground and had a backbone then and, said we're not getting rid of Gina. She's a valued member of the cast and the fans like her. That was also right around the time when Disney brought back Luke Skywalker on The Mandalorian and received, heaps of praise from the from the hardcore Star Wars fan community and people like myself. So they were doing things right just a few months ago. But now the outrage mob has come for Gina again, and this has been ramping up for a few weeks now. But it appears that Disney has finally succumbed to the outrage mob. So let's hop over to Twitter here real quick, and let's see. So I just want to read one of the headlines here from Twitter. So let's see. Okay, so over here you can see from the Star Tribune, Lucasfilm says Gina Carano is no longer part of the Mandalorian cast after many online called for her firing over a social media post that likened the experience of Jews during the Holocaust to the U.S. political climate. Now, on the surface, if you actually didn't read the tweets or any of the context, well then that might be, pretty bad sounding. Are U.S. citizens being rounded up? Not yet, but let's actually take a look and see what this, controversial tweet that Gina Carano made. Let's see what was so bad about it that she needed to be fired. The New York Post over here has the actual tweets, so let's go and look at that. And for those of you listening on audio, let me read. So She added to her Instagram story, or one of those, fleet things, whatever Twitter is calling that now. She added this, and it's a caption. Okay. Jews were beaten in the streets, not by Nazi soldiers, but by their neighbors, even by children. Sad emoji. Because history is edited, most people today don't realize that to get to the point where Nazi soldiers could easily round up thousands of Jews, the government first made their own neighbors hate them for simply being Jews. How is this any different from hating someone for their political views? Okay, that was it. That was the tweet that supposedly got Gina Carano fired. Now, I ask you, was Gina Carano calling for, the mass genocide or persecution of anyone? Was she being edgy? No, not really. So, what did she get in trouble for exactly? From what I understand, from my interpretation, she got in trouble for merely making an observation about a historical event that did happen and saying, geez, right now things are crazy in the U.S., and, drawing parallels. And people draw parallels between historical events and, current events all the time. And this is particularly, it is kind of in a weird way amusing to me. It's kind of ironic that she's getting, slammed for making a Jewish persecution comparison. It's kind of ironic that she's getting fired for that when, for the last, 4 years under Trump, what were we always hearing? Oh my God, it's like, Germany in the 40s, and Trump is literally Hitler, and Rush Limbaugh is Joseph Goebbels, and, so they were making Hitler comparisons all the time, right? And now that she, merely makes a historical comparison between the treatment of the Jews and, conservatives, I guess, now she is being ousted. The other interesting thing about that is in firing her, right, Disney kind of proved her point in a weird way, I guess. We'll show Gina Carano that she's wrong for, posting controversial tweets. She's wrong. So we're going to fire her and prove her right. And that's what happened. So, anyway, there's been a lot of, there are a lot of people saying that they're canceling their Disney Plus subscriptions. And here's my take on that, right? I'm not going to tell my audience to boycott Disney Plus, but I will say that I'm going to be, I'm not renewing my subscription, and, if you want my opinion, if you're paying monthly for it, I'd cancel it. If it were me. So here's the deal. I pay annually for my Disney Plus subscription, yearly. I like to actually pay for as many of those services yearly as much as I can. Instead of paying monthly, I do the same for like some softwares too. Just because I find that like paying once a year, not only does it save you money, but it's a lot easier than like having to keep track of, okay, when am I paying for this, that, and the other thing, right? So I like to do things annually. Um, and I was going to cancel my Disney Plus subscription just because I really haven't used it that much. But then, you know, November rolled around and The Mandalorian came back on, and it had renewed. So I was kind of like, oh, okay, I'll stick around for The Mandalorian. Really good season of The Mandalorian. Um, and then I am enjoying WandaVision, but you know, now I basically went in today and I went in and canceled my subscription, so I still have access to it until like late November. So basically until the end of the year. And I'm gonna finish WandaVision. I'm going to finish. I'm probably going to watch Falcon and Winter Soldier just to see how that is. But going forward, I'm not buying any, books. I'm really not going to be buying any video games anymore from, Disney slash Luke, which kind of bums me out because they are, I guess, working on Knights of the Old Republic 3. Although, and that's one of my favorite game franchises, the Knights of the Old Republic series. But also, knowing how Disney has treated Star Wars in general, they will probably, I hate to say it, but they'll probably SJW ties Knights of the Old Republic as well. And, so I'm just really bummed out to, hear that. I mean, I'm more sad than I am upset with. I'm more sad than I'm angry because, uh, Disney was doing things right just a few months ago with bringing back Luke Skywalker, in the way they did in The Mandalorian. Uh, with season 2 of The Mandalorian, they gave the fans what they wanted, and that was good for a while. But then they made some goodwill with the fans, and then they just decided to the fans are happy now, so we'll just continue to shove SJW crap down people's throats with the High Republic. And all of that I could have lived with had it not been for them firing Gina, who once again only made a historical comparison here. And if people are getting fired for that, folks, then we're all in trouble. We're all in trouble if that's the case. And look, I get it. Not everyone is a fan of Gina Carano. Not everyone agrees with her political opinions. Not everyone is a fan of the the Cara character. I get it. I did like her character more so than I liked Rey. I didn't mind Rey as much as some other people do. I like Daisy Ridley, but I do think that Gina Carano and Cara Dune, she was a very interesting character, and actually brought, she was kind of like a feminist, character, but not in the extreme SJW sense either. She was very strong-willed, very independent. badass, but, also very feminine as well. And men liked her. And that is the other thing that is, driving the fans crazy. There seems to be this whole misconception, right, that the fanboys in particular, like myself, that we don't like strong, female characters. That we just, ogle them and that's it, but we don't actually care about them as characters. And that couldn't be farther from the truth. One of the things that, makes, Princess Leia and Padme, so attractive to, men, including myself, and, as teenage boys, is the fact that they were, strong women, right? They were empowered female characters. And there is something sexy about that. But they didn't build those characters into strong female, leads at the expense of, the male counterparts. They never made Luke Skywalker, Han Solo look incompetent in the original trilogy. They never made Anakin Skywalker, or Obi-Wan Kenobi look incompetent next to, Padme in the prequel trilogy even. But, now we're living in toxic masculinity and, so Kylo Ren was more or less a wimp and, Rey can do anything and, she even fixes the Millennium Falcon better than Han Solo, who was the owner of the Falcon, better than he even could because she's just so amazing. And then when asked, when people started to complain about, her being a Mary Sue, Lucas basically answered that, Lucasfilm did, by saying, oh, well, she's a Palpatine, basically. Yeah, that's it. She's a Palpatine. And that was the answer that we got, in the Rise of Skywalker, so to speak. Spoiler alert for those of you who haven't seen that, by the way. But anyway, so yeah, man, that's what's going on with Gina Carano. I just think it's, like I said, I'm just more disappointed as a fan of Star Wars. I will continue to love Star Wars as far as the, the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy goes, and the old expanded universe. And I guess the first two seasons of The Mandalorian. But, unfortunately, I think this has really killed my interest in, future Star Wars projects as far as I'm concerned, and Marvel's not looking too good either, so yeah, it's just disappointing. But anyway, folks, I wish Miss Carano the best of luck in her career. I hope she can get back on her feet, and she has plenty of fans out there. Lots of whom, believe it or not, are women. By the way, ranging from teenagers all the way to moms and grandmothers. So she has a large fan base, and we're all supporting her, and we're excited to see what she does next. And that'll do it for this edition of the Whitfield Report here on Thursday. Like I said, quicker podcast than usual, but I just wanted to throw together a quick episode for you guys. Anyway, if you like this video, please rate and subscribe, comment, all of that. Subscribe to the podcast on iTunes and wherever else you get get your podcast, and please leave me a review. That really helps out. And folks, we'll be back this week on the live stream Saturday night, 10 p.m. Eastern Time with Apex Gamma. And we'll be talking the latest stuff from the Biden administration. So stay tuned for that. And I'll see you Saturday night, folks. From all of us here at NGC Studios, God bless, God save this great nation, God, freedom, legacy in that order, and I will see you on the next podcast.